Hello Moonbreakers, welcome to the fourth and final video of me ranking all the crew. Next episode I will have a brief discussion going over each of the captains and what they do and how I feel about them. Following that I will start making the more interesting videos about tactics and the thought processes I have while playing the game. So if there are any interesting ideas or tactics that you think about, I want to hear them so that I can try and explain those for others as well. Or if there are any concepts that you want to hear more details on, I can try to explain that. But in today's video, we will be looking at the Cholek culture. And these are plants or animals which often try to grow as big and threatening as possible, or try to swarm the field with smaller units to overwhelm the opponent. First up, we have Amplifier Vital, and this unit is very strong. It makes all of the units inside a large area, friendly units in a large area, have +1 attack. And this can be very beneficial if you try to use smaller creatures. You can really easily pump them up, or large units become even stronger, obviously. And this helps with taking out any unit that you want to deal with. So in my eyes, Amplifier Vital will give any crew, any rosters a huge benefit, and therefore it's a 4. And then we have Atokcha, and this is a unit which has a similar ability to Chuck and Co, which they are able to fling any unit in a direction. And Atokcha will fling them backwards while Chuck and Co flings them forwards. But because Atokcha only has 10 health, this unit is slightly lower on my rating. And they are not as powerful in terms of attack. Their second ability, that when they die, they spawn a cylinder pile, does not often have any significant impact on the game. So therefore I'm giving Atokcha a 3, because their ability is quite decent. They're also dealing a little more damage than Chuck and Co. But having only I say 2 attack and 10 health in comparison will bring them down to a 3. You would much rather just play Chuck and Co in my eyes. And then we have Blindsider Estly. And this is a unit which is very good if you need to deal with any units really quickly. You often will only have Blindsider Estly deployed 1 turn. After that, it's very likely it will die. Only having an increase in speed as an ability is actually quite good. They used to have an increase in attack as well, which made them very good. But right now they are quite balanced, easy to deal with, and does a lot of damage while deployed. So another 3. Next up we have Cholek, and this is a unit which I find somewhat difficult to judge. For 6 leadership and 3 attack with 10 health, they are rather strong and healthy. But their ability is somewhat decent, giving any melee units you have in range first strike, meaning that enemies' units will not retaliate when they are hit. And this might seem good, but to me melee units are in a quite weak state at the moment. So it's really how strong the melee units are makes Cholek even stronger. But what really brings Cholek down is their second ability, being able to summon young Cholek anytime a crew in range is destroyed. And young Cholek, we will see, are quite weak and are most often just victory points for your opponent. And for that reason, I'm right now placing Cholek as a 2. But then we have Drum Dancer Tlali, and this is a unit which is similar to Tarja Arsenal, which we saw in last video, I believe. Second to last video. And instead of giving ranged unit double attack, Drum Dancer Tlali is able to give melee units pummel, which makes them attack twice. So even if you don't have any other melee units, you're able to give Tlali herself pummel, and then she will attack for 4 every turn. And this is very strong, which will place them as a 4. And you can even make her stronger by using better melee units. So yeah, and E4. Then we look at Fate Twister Tanton, and this is another difficult to judge unit. They are rather weak with only 6 health, and their ability is really difficult to judge. Being able to guarantee a miss or a hit really depends on the units that will surround you or your opponent. And that, therefore, I only give them a 2, and that's mostly because of their weak health stat. And Monthly Tipu is a very expensive unit with 9 leadership. They are very strong in both attack, and they're decent in their health. The only reason I would use them is for their ability Sticky Swaddle, being able to stun any crew, but they are invulnerable for a turn. And this can be quite good if you need to quickly deal with the opponent's units. And then they also spawn baby Tipus. And we will look at the big Tipus later, but baby Tipus isn't a unit on their own right now. But I think baby Tipus are not the greatest. So overall, Monthly Tipu is a little too expensive for what they do, but they do somewhat okay. But still, they are a 2. Then we have Mikwani Thicket, and this is a 6 leadership unit with poison and 3 attack, and then a hefty 12 health. They are also able to use the ability Trap Prey, which is basically just a slightly shorter crankbait hook. And as we saw with Toxoid previously, poison is very strong, and Mikwani Thicket is able to deal with the downside of Toxoid, where they now have 3 health instead, 3 attack damage instead now, being able to go through both armor and defense domes damage reduction. But I think they are a little too expensive and quite slow, which will only place them as a 3. And Nekahol is a unit which I would have previously only placed as a 1, maybe a 2. I didn't really see that much use for them before, but recently I played a game where I was able to redeploy a Novian Bulwark with double strike. So I was able to deal 16 damage in one turn with the help of Nekahol. But since that is quite unlikely to happen and very situational, I think overall Nekahol has potential, but it's so situational. But in the end, I'm giving them a 3. Next up, we have Nenepi. And this is a unit which I only see is usable in relation to the dog Paltakan, which you get for free when you're using Suna. Yeah, there's not that much to say about Nenepi. In my eyes, they are only a 2. Next up, we have a quite fun unit to use in Hati. It's quite strong that they are able to heal themselves for 3 Cinder. Somewhat expensive, but then their ability to, whenever they take damage, become faster and stronger is very. It's not very good. It's decent, but they are a little bit too expensive, which makes me place them as a 2. Then we have Peacemaker Alan, and if they can load in. So I guess it's not loading. But Peacemaker Balam is a unit which is somewhat annoying to deal with. If the opponent is clumped together, you can stun all crew in that area. And this will really slow down their game while also improving your own. But they are a little too expensive for meaning that when they come out, it's actually somewhat easily dealt with only 6 health. But the ability is still that good, so I'm placing them as a 3. And here we see another interesting unit in Quetzali. Being able to move very freely with other units becomes very strong, especially if you have a lot of melee units or units that need to get in close. And you can also use Quetzali as a retreat tool. With 9 health, it's somewhat likely that they will stay 2 turns or even more. And being able to move that freely for that long is such a good ability. So I'm giving Quetzali a 4. And we continue with another strong unit in Nisa. With charge, they are able to move and attack at the same turn they are deployed. With first strike, the opponent's melee units will not retaliate. And then they are also able to, whenever they destroy a unit, they get to move and attack again. And being able to attack after twice per turn with first strike is quite good. And they also have 3 attack, which on its own is rather good. But then if you would consider comboing Tanisa with something like Drum Dancer Tlali, you're able to deal 6 damage to any unit, which is very likely that they will trigger Tanisa's ability, being able to combo off and attack a lot of units in one turn. Had there been a little bit tankier, I would have definitely placed Tanisa as a 5, but right now they are a 4. Continuing with another strong unit in Tipu, or as Riku would say, Tipu Destroyer of Worlds. This is the grown-up version that monthly Tipo will deploy as they are deployed. And at 3 attack with 8 health at only 4 leadership, and then being able to grow every single attack, every single pummel attack will also grow them, is very strong, especially if you are facing off against a heavy ranged unit or something with ability, which means they won't be able to deal damage back as easily to Tipo. Most often, when the opponent sees a Tipo, they will try to, as quickly as possible, deal with them. And this will alleviate a lot of pressure on the field for you, while also being able to, if undealt with, become a very large threat very quickly. This will give Tipo a 4. But then we only go downhill with Tona Mystic Monteo. This is a very strange way of healing your captain, and you are quite easily able to just remove Tona whenever you feel like it. So this is the first one I will be ranking at 1 for the Cholek. But if you are looking to have some healing in your crew or roster, I would instead suggest maybe R6 Nectarvine. This will make your opponent very quickly have to target Nectarvine, or your own crew will be able to stay healthy for very long. But since R6 Nectarvine only does healing and only does it in a specific area, it's quite easy to quickly deal with them or just move the opponent out of that area. So for me, even though it has these one of the strongest healing abilities, to me R6 Nectarvine is not that needed in any list, so a 2. Then we have R6 Scattervine, and this is a unit which very easily can become just victory points for your opponents. They are very weak to start with, but if they are able to stay for one turn, a lot of R6 Scattervines, one turn they become a little bit more of a threat. But since the opponent is able to deal with them at the start, or at least have them under control, I think R6 Scattervine is just victory points for the opponent, so a 1. And in similar fashion, we have the last unit, Young Cholek. This is another unit which most often just becomes a free victory point for the opponent. Unless you are able to pretty much just win the game on the same turn you deploy them, the opponent is almost always able to deal 3 or maybe 5 damage to this unit freely. So this is unfortunately another 1 for me. So there you have it, guys. Those were the Cholek. They are not the strongest units, but they can be a lot of fun to play around with different combos, and just very fun to try them out. So make sure you do that. And here we have all of the crew ranked in a single tier list. I did change around some of the units. For example, Chuck and Co. I moved up because they are very strong, both attack and healthiness. And there might be some other units which I have ranked originally as something else, but then moved around slightly. But as I said, in the next video, I will be going over the captains, and then we will try to go into more details on tactics and other stuff. Make sure you like and subscribe to me, and check out the Moonbreaker Discord channel. Thanks for watching.